What's going on, guys? Boi Crypto with you here, and today we are going to explore the 5 bare necessities for living a minimalist lifestyle. Hey guys, if you like the channel, please do like the video and subscribe as well. I very much appreciate it. And also follow me on Twitter. You can find me at Boi Crypto. So the theme of this channel, we have talked about it since the beginning. It's all about personal freedom, self-sovereignty. And one of the ways to getting there, to me, is living a minimalist lifestyle. It doesn't necessarily mean living in poverty or anything like that, or depraving yourself of everything that you love, but it does mean limiting things to give yourself that mental clarity. And today, we're going to talk about the 5 necessities that I believe you need to live that kind of lifestyle. For me, when it comes to investing in general and investing in crypto, as we obviously talk about on this channel, having a clear mind is very important for me to making optimal decisions. And I think you'll find it does the same for you. So let's get into it. Let's check out bare necessity number 1 for living a minimalist lifestyle. Number 1 is simplifying your daily routine. For those of you that are familiar with the great Dr. Jordan Peterson, he talks about this a lot in both of his books and just his talks in general, having a routine every single day, and it really helps you move through the day clearly. And you know, we can talk about the super simple stuff like make your bed every morning, have a glass of water when you wake up. I mean, there's all those kind of things. But for me to get even more specific, as you may notice by the threads that I don on this channel, having a limited wardrobe is really important for me to having a simplified daily life. I think on this channel I've only worn black or gray shirts so far, and that's typically what I wear every single day. Out of all the huge decisions that I need to make in a day, I don't want one of them to be, what am I going to wear? It's never been something that means that much to me. As long as you have clothes that fit you, the color looks good on you, I think you're pretty much good to go. Another big factor for me as far as simplifying my daily routine. You may have heard of intermittent fasting. I actually find that I gain a lot of mental clarity by only eating really once a day. I fast until dinner time every single day, usually about 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Somewhere in that window, I will eat for the first time of the day. Part of it is because I have an inner fat kid. I used to be fat. When I graduated high school, I was probably about 60 to 70 pounds heavier than I am right now. And that is still in my DNA. If I could sit and eat food all day, every day, it's probably what I would choose to do. I love to eat, so I like to not eat all day long, and then I feel like I can kind of splurge a bit in the evening. But not only that, it just provides me clarity throughout the day. I drink a gallon of water a day, so drinking all that water and coffee provides me with a lot of mental clarity as I get my work done throughout the day. Then, when it's time to feast, come around 5 o'clock, I'm in the relaxation period. I'm in the dinner time. It just makes it easy for me to realize that I don't have to worry about getting little meals prepared during the day. I'll be eating in the evening, and that's when all my relaxation can start. Okay, that brings us to bare necessity number 2. We've talked about this before. Limit your spending. I get it, not easy for very many people to do. Also not easy when we're in the midst of is it a recession? Isn't a recession? I guess it depends on what day you check Wikipedia. But obviously with the inflation rates and things like that, it is a little bit harder to limit your spending. But I have some evergreen strategies for you. Number 1 for me is driving a fuel-efficient car. You know, we've seen how bad it can get with gas prices. And although they've been on the downturn here in the US for some time, gas is obviously something you need to run your car. You also could look into an electric car, but I mean, most of them, even right now, are going to be more expensive than the average lightly used, fuel-efficient car. Another way I limit my spending, this is an absolute must in this day and age, work remotely. If there's any way you can do it with your profession, it is an absolute must. It gives you the opportunity to exponentially get more things done. If you've ever heard of Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Work Week, I think it came out, a great book that came out in 2006. That book and Tim Ferriss was really ahead of his time. But now, with us being in the post C-word 19 world, lots of people are working from home. Lots of companies, lots of businesses are realizing that trimming the fat of having an actual brick and mortar building only makes sense for them. And for their employees' mental health, it only makes sense to allow them, if they're getting their work done, they're responsible employees, to work from home. It's a win-win-win deal. And if you're in a position right now with a company that has not decided to get with the times, go on a job search. There's many companies that are hiring without ever meeting you face-to-face, after a couple of Zoom meetings or whatever it may be, that are willing to bring you on board as long as you prove yourself. So you must work from home. It saves you so much time and so much money. Another great way to limit your spending, and I'm going to go ahead and link this in the description below, is cook from home, eat from home, like I've already talked about here. I have a video that I made about the inflation-proof 50-cent dinner that I'll put in the description for you. You got to check it out. It's one of the more popular videos on my channel so far. Eating from home, I always talk about it. Beans, rice, cheap vegetables, ground beef, eggs, like any kind of cheap protein source. There's all kinds of ways to make great meals from home without even spending that much money. There's many ways to cook yourself a great meal right from home without going out to eat and worrying about all the trappings that come with that. One of my tenets is definitely to prepare your own meals at home. It's usually going to be healthier for you and, of course, always going to be cheaper. Okay, bare necessity number 3. Staying on the money route, it's having very little debt. We all already have so many bills to pay. You've got utilities, you've got insurances, you've got, probably school loans still, your kids' school loans, whatever else it may be. There's no reason to add on more voluntary debt for crap that you probably don't really need. With a car, buy a car with cash. If there's something that you can afford to buy, that means you have cash to buy it. You can't afford it if you're unable to pay cash for it. I'm not against some debt. Matter of fact, I think some debt is good to leverage to give you more money in the meantime to put into cryptocurrency or other great financial opportunities. But the less debt you have, the more you're going to be stressed out about it and worrying about paying it. The other thing when it comes to a vehicle, most of the time, if you're going to finance a car, you're looking at an interest rate that is far higher than a mortgage rate, probably going to be at least 6%. I haven't even checked them recently, but it's going to be a high interest rate. If you're able to, I would pay off all of your school loans. We've got a pretty sweet deal these last couple of years after the C-word 19 breakout, where they've allowed us to basically have the loans in forbearance or whatever you would want to call it. But we can't assume that that's actually going to happen. So if it's a strain on you and you're being made to pay your school loans, however worthless they may be, get them out of your life ASAP, because it's going to be a bear on your back until it's gone. Another bad kind of credit, obviously, credit cards. I'm a proponent of using a credit card. I believe that people are adults, and if they understand how to read the terms of a credit card, then you should use one. I'm okay using one. I like to use one to get cash back and things like that. It's also for convenience. It's easy to just pay with a credit card and then just keep paying your balance every single month. Do not carry a balance, because as you may know, if you look in the fine print of most credit cards, the interest rate is going to be absolutely way higher than anything else you deal with. You're usually looking in excess of 20% interest. So even that small purchase that you might have made at some retail store a few weeks ago, it's going to come back to bite you. So do not get into credit card debt. And finally, as far as debt, really the only kind I'm in favor of, you would say, would be a mortgage. We, months ago, were able to get mortgages for extremely low interest rates. Now, with inflation and the way things are going in the world, those are going to start to hike up, and the housing market is a little bit different. But there was a time there where you were able to get a 30-year fixed mortgage for under 3% interest. That's phenomenal. If you can lock something in like that at that time, you were very smart to do it. Most people would consider a property or a home as an asset that you can eventually sell again someday. So that's a nice way to think about it as well. And you are going to build up equity in that home over the years. Even if it maybe doesn't appreciate all that well in quality, the housing market will appreciate, and it's going to cost more whenever you have to sell it anyway. So, okay, moving on to number 4. For me, that's going to be practices for mental clarity. There are things that you need to do throughout your life, throughout the week, throughout the day, that help you feel more centered, help you in your communication with others, and relax you. For me, exercise is of utmost importance. I don't know what I would do with my anxiety if I were not able to exercise. I personally do weighted calisthenics 6 days a week. Sometimes even that 7th day, I'll go for a run or something like that if I'm just feeling a little anxious and I want to get outside. It's an absolute must. And it's not even necessarily a must just because it's healthy for you to do physically and can help you obviously lose weight. We all know the benefits of exercising physically. But mentally, you got to have a place to put that anxiety. And sometimes the anxiety, the depression that you may be feeling, just as a natural human being, you can't even focus on it or think about it when you're working out because you have to be focusing on that thing. Ask anybody who's lifted heavy weights. If you're not focusing on the bar going up above your chest, you're going to have issues, obviously. Try to do that without focusing on it. Exercising is so important, and it just naturally, there's so many days I don't even want to do it, where it's the last thing on my mind. It's too early in the morning. I don't even want to do my pre-workout stretches. But when I'm 15 to 20 minutes into the workout, you wouldn't have even known I was having a bad day up until that point. Another big one for me for mental clarity is being outdoors. I am not a religious person. I would probably consider myself a spiritual person. And being outdoors and in nature, to me, is the closest to I get to my spiritual center. I can think of times over this summer where I was at the lake looking just across this vast expanse, across the whole lake, and seeing the countryside on the other side and the forest and all these trees, people on boats and kayaks and everything. Just majestic. And again, for me, that's the closest I get to feeling spiritual. You know, you may be different. You may have a specific God or something that you look at specifically, but even if you do, I don't think there's any way to deny that being out in nature and realizing just how unimportant we are in the grand scheme of things. We are so insignificant compared to what is out there in the world. Being in nature is a must for me. And finally, with mental clarity, I would recommend journaling. I do it as needed. You know, I don't think it's necessarily important to do it every single day or have a set schedule, because if you're just not feeling it, then it's not usually going to be that well. And for me, I think the medium is really important in how you journal. You know, if you are somebody who enjoys the physical act of writing and that's what you're able to do, that's terrific. I, being somebody who is always into broadcasting and stuff like that, I love to do audio journals. You know, you get all these ruminating thoughts that are just dominating your day. When you can't express them to anyone else, or even just say them out loud to yourself, maybe just to see how freaking ridiculous they are, it can really ruin your day. You know, you just go in this cycle of rumination where everything just feels dark and dreary and there's a big cloud over your head. For me, it's absolutely necessary to get outside, go for a walk, do some journaling. And it can be little dramatic things that are happening in my life. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, as pathetic as this may seem, it's just about like crypto investments. It's just about like, man, we're in this bear market right now and I wish things would turn around. And it's a way of kind of talking yourself figuratively off the ledge and making sure you don't do some regrettable action. But it's so important for me to get out there, talk about it, hear my words coming out of my mouth, because then you can almost become like that third-party friend, hear what you are saying, and look at it more objectively. So journaling is really, really important for me. And finally, bare necessity number 5, that's going to be being very intentful with who you let into your life. I find this extremely easy. I know not everybody does, but you need to eliminate anybody who is not in your corner. I'm not saying they have to agree with every single thing that you do and be totally on board. That's really important, and you need to know the difference between being supportive and doing exactly what it is you would do. There's too many people in the world right now that are extremely selfish, completely out for themselves, and don't want anything to do with your success and actually want to detract from it and try to bring you down. If you just have too many people that are not filling you up and are actually detracting from what it is you are trying to do every day, you need to do your best to cut them out of your life. And it doesn't need to be some kind of conversation or something like that. And it doesn't need to be ghosting them, although that can be really nice sometimes. You just need to put your head down, focus on what you need to focus on, and if they care enough, they're going to come back, or they're going to just get the hint. But we are so busy in this day and age with our own lives trying to be successful that I just don't have time with somebody who's not going to be supportive of me. And this should go without saying, but to anybody who is creating undue drama in your life or anything like that, they just absolutely need to go. I have no space for that. I have no space for social media or anything. Sometimes just for a couple of laughs, maybe I'll open up Facebook during the day and then shut it after I see something really depressing, inevitably like 5 seconds in. But anybody who's there, not in your corner, you need to get them out of your life. This can be lonely sometimes. And I'll tell you, I've had those moments myself where when you're on this journey of trying to be successful and really make it yourself, it can be lonely because not a lot of people choose this kind of path. But anybody that isn't supporting you, there's just no time for. And the thing about the loneliness piece is you need to learn how to live with that anyway. You know, unfortunately, not to be grim, we're all going to die alone. Just a fact of life, that's what's going to happen. So you best get busy now understanding how to be with yourself. So that's it, guys. The 5 bare necessities for living a minimalist lifestyle. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear your comments below. If you live this kind of life, give me some tips. Let me know what it is you do. Did any of this resonate with you? Being a minimalist is all about being free. And the more I practice these skills, the better off I know I'll be in the future, because it's giving me time to be with the people I love and do the things I love. Guys, if you liked the video, please like it, subscribe to the channel as well. I very much appreciate it. And you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Boi Crypto. Thanks for watching, my fellow broke boys, and I'll catch you in the next video.